if I were a child. So hold me tight because I like it. We met by a pure chance, and I guess that we like it. Honey, let's take a ride. Let's follow the call of the heart. And maybe when summer dawn, I'll call you softly, my boy. Call me madness and lay by my side.
Hello and welcome to the Sound Vision podcast. This is episode number 4. Just like the last 2 times, this is going to be only me. And I can't wait to have new guests as well. Artists, non-artists, people who feel like they have something to share. If you feel like that's you, don't hesitate to reach out, leave a comment, and we'll see what we can do. I just got a question. I posted something on Instagram saying basically what do you want me to talk about on this podcast, and I got a really interesting question right now which inspired me to just start talking and start recording. How does a free soul feel right now during quarantine? And I think this is a very, very interesting question because yeah, definitely I do consider myself a free soul. Oh yeah, for sure, 100%. I'm human, just like everybody else, and I think that by free soul, the question was directed at partly the fact that I travel a lot and I move around a lot, but also like in my soul, not necessarily spiritually, but yeah, I can say spiritually, to be free and to be honest, in that sense, you're always free, like in your soul. So that's not a problem if I'm in quarantine or not. But when we, for my body, like I'm not just a soul. I have a body and have a physicality, and I have my mind. And I think that right now, personally, and I've read because I'm on Facebook. Well, I was the last few days kind of a lot on Facebook, and I noticed that a lot of people are dealing mostly during this quarantine. What is hard for us is mostly mental. So I'm definitely in a place and in a moment where mentally I'm experiencing, first of all, a lot of breakthroughs. But if I did this specific podcast like 2 hours, honestly, like 5 hours earlier, I wouldn't be able to say that. It's been mentally tough, really, really hard, but with something at the end. Like I'm really, really, really feeling like the fact that I'm quarantined and going outside feels like a little bit dangerous in a way, in many ways, and I should stay inside as much as I can. Um, Obviously, just drives me to myself directly and to my core, and in this case, exactly to, well, basically past traumas that I'm still working in unraveling and understanding. And I mean, 25 years old that I'm going to be next week, so happy birthday to myself. You see, I'm always the person to to say the first happy birthday. So I say happy birthday to people like a week before right when I learn that their birthday is coming up, because people usually say like, "Oh, it's my birthday next week." And I say happy birthday right away because I feel like then I'm the first one to tell them happy birthday for that year, probably. And that makes me really happy. And also, I feel like they might remember me for that. And it's just nice. So I guess saying happy birthday to myself is quite a good thing to do. to say it now, to not wait. But what was I talking about? Yeah, mentally traumas. Yeah, because I'm just confronted with my life in general, and so it's been like excruciating pain. Honestly, it hasn't been like butterflies and rainbows like I love life to be, because know that it can be with enough self-care, a lot of self-care, a lot of that, living my life like really aligned with who I am, my beliefs, what I love, what I want to do, my goals, etc. And just being really, really, really tender and nice with myself through it all. And yeah, self-love, and that self-care becomes self-love when you care about it, and about yourself and about how you feel constantly. Honestly, my current kind of struggle and is that resistance of wanting to kind of dive into um, my true emotions, my real work that I need to do, um, which is difficult and is not uh, nice to do, but necessary. And the idea that I don't want to let that self-love go, because that self-care. It doesn't feel like self-care when I'm working deeply on like traumas, memories, relationship issues, but in the end, it is something that is completely about self-care and self-love, because it heals me. It allows me so much more to really be a free soul in the end, and to like embody and be it even more, a free soul, because my soul just is healed from past kind of moments that I did not understand before, and it's a process that is filled with love, but also can be filled with self-hate, and can be filled with that, and even take over the moment, the hour, the day. But at the end of the day, it's always up to me to pull back and let it go, and do something that just feels nice. And actually, at that moment, what I like to do is usually get out and go for a walk, because I think that walking around makes sense, allows my everything, my whole body, to align with my mind in a different way, and put everything in motion again when I feel like I need movement. That's when I take my walk. And so yeah, another podcast that is very positive. I love positivity. Huge lover of positivity. Like, it's a lifesaver. But yeah, I can't lie and say that it's been like ice cream and butterflies. It's also been that, you know, but it hasn't been all that. And that's how I actually feel right now. Um, I feel like it's a breakthrough that I'm blessed to have the time to go through, because in our daily lives, when we work all day, as most people do, we may have to like reschedule feelings, and that happens because we have to keep going, and we have to like make a plan when we need to make our plan, and we need to like work when we need to work, we need to see people, and we need to function. And so it's normal to repress a lot of things, and even maybe forget about it, forget about our feelings. I really, really love to meditate every single morning, because if for at least 20 minutes I just put, not really a timer because I don't want the alarm to go off at the end, but just to check my phone once in a while and have a specific 20-minute moment and really be with the way that I'm feeling. Welcome this feeling, whatever, how you're feeling today, because it's always going to be one thing. Like, you're always going to be feeling one thing at one moment, one thing at once. Just welcome that and concentrate on that, and allow it to be, whether it's good or bad, or it's been bad for 20 days, or it's been good for one day and you're kind of scared to lose it, or it's amazing, or you're feeling great. And so you allow yourself to feel it. If you're feeling already great, you'll just feel like even better and proud of yourself. And I really experience the fact that when I'm feeling anything else than like great, like 100%, then like all the mechanism that I have inside of me that is yeah, that can like shame the fact that I'm not feeling 100%, or feel bad about it, then all of this, when I'm exactly in that meditation moment, all of that is just, it doesn't like happen. And so I'm left with this beautiful, like welcoming energy where for 20 minutes it's almost like my body does the work for me, and it starts to tell me like how to do things better, how to get out of this funk, how to talk to myself, how to talk to another person that maybe is making me feel a certain way, that is connecting to something that is inside of me that I felt before. And all these things are become very, very clear without being overwhelming ever. And this is just my experience with meditation, without having, like, I always wanted to do meditation and I never could concentrate for that long, and then I found this technique that works for me, and then since then it's been like that. It's just like my body does that work for me. And what a difference that 20 minutes can make in understanding why sometimes I'm not feeling at my best, because at the end of the day, I really love to feel at my best. That's what I want. I'm accepting the fact that I don't always feel this way, and that's okay. And it's actually difficult for me to accept it 100% unless I have a meditation practice. So, but um, but it's actually okay not to feel good sometimes, to feel shitty, to feel shame, to feel like something that happened is annoying me or frustrating me or really, really shitty. But so this is how a free soul feels in quarantine. But at the end of the day, I'm so happy for that, because not for this pandemic, of course, but for the fact that I needed this, I needed these realizations and this work and these questions that I'm asking myself and I was asking myself these past few days. And so I'm super grateful actually that this work that I'm doing, when you look at it, it's almost like I'm in isolation, I'm in this room, this apartment, and not really going out. but I am really going deeply within, and I know, like, it sounds so, I know a lot of things, but I am really going deeply within. I read that, like, when you can't go outside, go within. And I was like, yeah, yeah, but honestly, like, it came through another door for me than just seeing this post and like being like, okay, yeah, 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 I'm gonna go within now. Like, no, came through another door for me, another event that made me like look within. But wow, like, also another thing that is really like a realization that I had today, the internet. One more time. I think I'm saying how grateful I am for the internet every single podcast, but I realized one more thing about that. It's this that I'm talking about is spiritual work, but it's also kind of therapeutic work. And how I was able to go within, quote unquote, is because uh, I found a YouTube video that was explaining how to do that, how to um, I won't go into too many details because I feel like I kind of want to keep that information for myself because it's so intimate. But and maybe I will talk about it later, but probably will. It's just not the right moment. I'm really quite deeply in it right now, so I would like to keep it private. Thank you very much. But yeah, I found this YouTube video and it just changed my life, you know? Crazy how, like, every time I go through something difficult, at the end, because I have such a desire to find a solution and to get out of this rut, I find the gold at the end of the tunnel. Always find it, and this is like a gold, like, discovery and something that I can take with me for the rest of my life when I don't know how to deal with a trauma, or when I don't know what to do with a bad memory, or like just a shitty ass event that happens or happened, and I'm like realizing and remembering. So yeah, this is how a free soul feels in quarantine. Um, Still as free as I usually am, truly more like an uh like uh inner travel, and inner traveling is definitely happening. um I also am like starting a little bit to plan my next trips, so like which little travels I'm going to do, and so that's fun because I don't know, I don't really have a set moment when I'm going to travel again, of course, but I can really be patient with this process of planning my next trips. So that's really fun. That's a fun one. And yeah, I think putting emphasis on the fact that this is a difficult moment, and I think it is for mostly everybody, or actually everybody, in my opinion, I think. I'm really sorry to anyone who has lost someone in their family, people that I know and people who listen to my podcast but I don't necessarily know. And really sorry for your loss. And I think that this is why, as much as possible, everything that we can do to feel better, now is the time to do it more, even if we feel more tired, and it's okay to sleep, and also actively doing little gentle things and things that are very nice for ourselves, because the more love that we'll hold in our hearts, the better this um, season is going to pass, and the more love is going to be able to be shared with other people who are maybe going through um, something worse, or even something that, yeah, something worse, and most importantly, to give it to ourselves first, of course. And I think that we that's why we all need to do it. I need to do it individually from you, and then we can share if we feel like we have an overflow. But obviously, right now, I think that it's quite difficult for anyone to really have an overflow of like care to give to someone else. So yeah, self-love, free spirit, free soul. Give self-love to your free soul. Here you go. And traveling inwards is, whew, difficult, but definitely super worth it. Super worth it. It's almost like when you go in a new country and like you don't know what you're going to encounter, and frankly it can be dangerous a lot of the times, but a lot of the times and usually it goes well. It goes really well. And um, I think that with inner travel you already kind of know what happened, your memories. It's like almost like your inner life is already constructed, but sometimes it's even scarier to go back and encounter things that were not so fun, things that were repressed and suppressed inside of ourselves, that can be even scarier than going to into the outside world and not knowing what obstacles we might come across, what people who we could meet, good people, people with bad intentions. We don't know, frankly. But I got another question. Someone wanted me to talk about social prescribing, and if you don't know what that is, I'm so happy that you asked me this question, because this is everything. Like, this makes so much sense. So, social prescribing, it's basically um, the fact that we have to acknowledge that in mental health issues, and just like health in general and well-being of a human being, um, of course it's not only therapists, doctors and nurses that can help us with feeling better in our lives. And it might seem obvious the way that I'm saying it now, but I think especially for young people, but really for people of all ages, I'm talking from my experience. I've talked to like people in the professional health field that it's almost like they're kind of disconnected to the fact that of like the wide range of what makes someone, a human being, feel good in their lives. And other health professionals um, are are they understand that. And um, and I really appreciate it, because I mean it's so well rounded when you see health not only as something that you have to go in and, you know, get a medicine to fix, but really it's almost like you're fixing problems at its core and at the source in your life, so that you heal on a physical level if you have a physical problem that comes out of that. Very, very often, I think, actually, all the time, every single time that you get sick, um, or you're hurting somewhere, even, um, it comes from an emotional cause. It truly always does when you think about it. And so, or always or almost always. Because I'm thinking about things like periods. When my stomach hurts, it's not necessary, it's not really emotional, but it's part of my natural cycle of life, my inner life. Um so yeah, like, okay. sometimes we have a sickness or we have a chronic thing that comes back and comes back and comes back, or just always stays, or just is present for way too long. And oftentimes we take antibiotics, we take medicine, and we can fix it for real. And that, I think that's really good to give relief when we need relief, in the moment, and when we're still figuring it out, what is this sickness, whatever is happening. But there's such a big necessity, um, to understand the root cause, because when you fix the emotional problem, like you had some issues in your childhood that you never dealt with, and now they're and coming up to the surface, and you just can't ignore it anymore because it's the right time in your life, and boom, you get sick because, for instance, you're not so connected to your feelings, or you're pushing something away, pushing something down in your body that wants to be integrated to you because it's a part of you and something that you experienced. And that's when I think that community, whatever we can find, because that's what social prescribing is. It's also like there's so many things to say about this. I mean, it's also the fact that your um, community can do great things for you, and those are the people that are around where you live. But just feeling supported in your community as an individual. Oftentimes, some people don't have families that are so supportive, so we rely on this community. And oftentimes, I feel like it's not so encouraged, and we are told if we are hurting inside or to go see a therapist, and if we are hurting physically, also to go and see a doctor, so a health professional. But sometimes these same problems can really be fixed by um, by looking inside and feeling emotions, and then I think it's really all about like how you usually feel in general in your life, your well-being. We are all in this together. I'm not saying that like people that are around community resources and services, they don't necessarily know everything, but whoa, what a difference can someone who listens to your story um, can be, really, and advice that they can give you, and just the fact that you feel like you're being listened to, um, changes a great deal inside of the body and the mind and the heart of an individual. So I'm really all for it, because when you're a child and something's going wrong, the more you talk about it, the more you're gonna find the root cause, the more you're gonna be able to fix it, or at least have like have understanding. And understanding can really prevent a lot of traumatic stuff to happen, or big feelings that as a child you may not know how to deal with. When you're a teenager and you have all this stuff going on, and puberty, and it's all very confusing. I think that, for instance, if you're going through some bullying at school, or some kind of conflicts, like it always happens, well, it's normal that these things come up. But if you don't really have such a good guidance at home, then you start to maybe get sad or get sick, even. That could definitely happen. But just the fact that if you feel sad, that's a good enough reason to not directly go and see a therapist, I think that it can definitely help. But from my experience, what I've seen is that it's like only seeing a therapist is definitely only an hour of talking to someone who's then gonna like close their door and be very be they can't really be there in other areas of life. So but then you're also going to need other things like other people in the community that can help you just with support and knowing maybe even joining like a sport or something can help, not obsessively, not to hide away the problems. But I think the magic in social prescribing is the fact that it's a wide range and you're not going against anything really that exists in the world. It's just taking in one more thing, and I think that's wonderful. And many more things actually. And because I understand so much their truth and their validity. Um, you learn so much from playing soccer or learning how to dance. You learn things for life, skills for life, but disguised as um, how to kick a ball, But really, it's like an advice for life. and this is when art and creativity come into play. I mean, how wow. When you make art, you open up worlds to your thinking mind and you go through life so much easier. So, yeah. Standing tall on top of your point shoes, that's also an advice for life. And the more we can work on ourselves. So, same thing when you're a young adult, you're not done with this. Like, we might think like we are finally adults, 18 years old, and now we've got it all figured out, or 22 years old, or even 31 years old, or even older. And especially in those early years of young adulthood, how much we learn and how much the school does not teach you right now. So that's when social prescribing, um wow, like what a difference that makes to be able to talk to someone about what's going on, or like um have access have more access to services. Like, you may not have a lot of money, you may have um, big problems in your life, you may have um, different things that you need to fix. I mean, life is so filled with so many possibilities and also some requirements. Like, everyone is struggling with at least one at once, and we keep on making things better and better in our lives, but um, they are social crises and social problems and social things that eventually we are able to overcome. But how much easier and how required is it that we don't do it alone, and that, as I said, we are supported by other ways than just coming in and talking to a therapist about what's going on um, for an hour each week. You know how much difference that can make a difference, but in my opinion, not if it's not paired with other ways to make yourself feel better. Let's have courage, I hope you enjoyed my little talk. I hope it made sense, and I hope that you find value in those words. So, yeah, much love to everybody. Thank you so much for listening once again. I am your host, Noémie Zumer, and this is how a free soul feels during this quarantine. Much love. Bye bye.
We broke all the rules of the time and space, and finally we hold in each other's hands. We walking down these empty streets of this town made by us. Oh, don't you know there's no future, no